Hey everybody, good afternoon. Today is Friday, February 24th, 2023. This is Ben Capozzi with Broad Shoulders Farm, and as you can see, I am not actually at Broad Shoulders Farm right now. I'm at home sitting at our dining room table, and I'm watching Annie today. So I threw her some hatchery and seed catalogs, like throwing steaks to wolves. She also has Miss Rachel going on her little iPhone in the other room, and she has a full bottle of breast milk. So she should be pretty set while we do this. What I wanted to do today was talk about the seeds that we're going to be growing this year. So I'm doing a seed haul video. This one is pretty nerdy for folks who are into stuff like that. If it's not your thing, feel free to pass on by. But for folks who like talking about seeds, this is the genre for them. So I've got a bunch of different things I'm going to be trying this year. And let me just start with some of the outliers, some of the more unusual ones. So I've got sorry, and I'm going to be stuffy and sniffly. I'm fighting allergies. But I've got all the medication in my system, so hopefully I'll be fine now. But it's such a nice day that I've got the windows open, the blinds are open, and we're just letting in fresh air because yesterday it was 80. I think today it's in the high 60s. Well, I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but whether this is a false spring or not, my allergies are convinced that it is an authentic, true, this spring is happening, at least as far as pollen goes. So that's where we are. Okay, let's talk about one of the outliers. This rhubarb breeders mix from the Experimental Farm Network. I love this seed supplier. I love this company. I love their Instagram account. They are growing some really interesting stuff and are providing seeds to help you grow some really interesting stuff. So highest possible recommendation. But there's really just a few different varieties of rhubarb that you can find online if you're buying crowns. And I prefer to have different stuff, which is kind of a theme with me if you know me from the perennials at the farm or from my chickens. So this should make sense. But yeah, this is a group of rhubarb seed collected from, I think, at least half a dozen, maybe closer to a dozen different varieties of rhubarb from around the country. And not quite sure what these will be like. I don't think rhubarb grows identical to its parents. That's why it's usually cloned, but these should all be pretty good varieties, and I'm excited to see what happens. Excuse me. So I'll have some of these in the garden, and some of these I'll be planting out in the orchard around the fruit trees. So there's that. Another thing I'm super excited about from the Experimental Farm Network is these seeds from these are persimmon seeds. Actually, I need to put these in the fridge. From the Giving Tree. And if you've ever seen like articles, search up, it's like in Missouri or Idaho, but it's this persimmon tree that routinely produces like 1,000 pounds of fruit. It's in this little old lady's backyard. And she has been giving away persimmons and doing like a little mini persimmon festival party at her house for many, many years. And I remember watching a documentary on this thing years ago, and I was like, man, I would kill to get some scion wood from that. And these are some seeds from them, which are pretty much just as good as far as I'm concerned. So got to get these planted out in a air prune box ASAP. Some other really kind of different things I'm growing is artichokes. We can handle it in our climate here. They should overwinter fine. And once they go through a season, they should start to fruit the next spring. And I've got a couple hybrid varieties here, as well as some open pollinated heirloom ones. And from what I've looked at and researched, I'm not really going to be growing artichoke from seed after I get these established. Artichoke are very easy to propagate vegetally. So you take out like rootlets and things that form around them, and you can transplant them, and before you know it, you can have a whole lot of different artichokes. So the fact that 2 or 3 of these are hybrids is not a big deal to me, because I won't have to worry about them devolving or turning into something else over time as I propagate more of them. So I got just a simple violet one that's probably an old French version, and these first 3 ones came from Urban farm seeds, Urban Farmer Seeds. They've got some great stuff. I got a bunch of asparagus seed from them last year, and that did really well. A classic oldie, Imperial Star. I think that one's open pollinated. And then, of course, Wonder, which is a hybrid. And the reason I'm looking at hybrids are either different harvest dates, either they're earlier, either they're later, either they're more prolific, either they have a different stature. Like a couple of these, maybe it's Colorado Red Star, I think, is maybe only 1.5 to 2 feet high. Yeah, 1 to 3 foot tall, edible ornamental. So that one, I've got smaller spaces to put it for, as opposed to like the classic green globe, which is going to want way more space. And then I've got Violette de Provence, which is probably the same as Violet that I showed you earlier from Urban Farms. These, of course, are from Baker Creek. That's probably who I get most of my seeds from, at least this year. So those are some of the obscure ones. Let me talk about melons. I'm trying to do watermelons this year, and I'm getting mostly short season varieties because I would love to be the first person to market with additional melons. And a lot of the short season melons are smaller and more personal, like my own personal melon, similar to what you see like in a lot of Japan. I think you see a lot of smaller cultivars. And a lot of my customers are single person or an elderly married couple. I don't have a lot of big families that want a giant watermelon, and lots of my customers sometimes will look at my products, my baked goods especially, and say, oh, you know, I could never eat that whole sheet of focaccia, which has led me to start selling it by the half sheet, and sales are up, which is really good. So that's been helpful. Of course, little do these people know that I can probably eat a whole sheet of focaccia in like a day myself. But be that as it may, so I've got a petite yellow watermelon here from Seed Savers, and this one is just, 65 to 80 days. So I'm really excited about that. This is one I got, Rich Sweetness 132. You see a lot of reviews on this one online. The flavor is fair to middling by many folks, but it is prolific. And this gets at, excuse me, another thing that is important for me on my farm, and is kind of a benefit of all my livestock and poultry. There's no such thing as a bunch of produce that went to waste at my operation. So my chickens and ducks and geese absolutely love melons. They love watermelon, they love cantaloupe. So the fact that this is going to produce small 1/4 pound watermelons, or 1/4 pound melons on incredibly productive vines. If people, my customers, don't like them, my livestock will absolutely like them. You okay? You okay? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh no, I made eye contact. This could be bad. So I'm excited about that. This one is Model Melon. 75 days, again from Baker Creek, or Model Melon. Silver Yamato. I don't know if this is, early to mature, but also it's white fleshed, which I think is really cool. You know me from most of you know me from my flocks of chickens that I have. I think at one time I had about 65 different breeds. I think now we're probably down in the 50s at this point, but I like diversity. I like seeing birds that I can't just see on any other farm. I like seeing a unique flock, and the same thing with the food. You know, I don't want like some crazy thing that I'm never going to eat, but I do like things that are adjacent to something that is more common. So I eat red flesh watermelon all the time when it's in season. So the idea of a white flesh Japanese variety sounds really cool to me, and it has different flavor notes like honey or tamarind or something like that. You know, that sounds cool to me, and I know that I want Annie to grow up on eating neat, good for her stuff. I want her to have that opportunity. So that's what's going on with that. Lemon drop watermelon, another smaller one, only 1 to 2 pound fruit, but it's gold. A lot of these smaller ones also have edible flesh, which is kind of interesting. And also, when I was a kid at like family reunions and church picnics and stuff, we would always have watermelon rind pickles, which were delicious, and I'd like to do some things like that with some of these maybe. Blacktail Mountain, not necessarily a an early variety, but just kind of a classic round one. Lila Now Sweet Glow. 85 days, so that's not a super long time, but it is orange flesh. On the back of it, Baker Creek says, the most perfect orange flesh watermelon we have tried. Good enough for me to give it a try. I'm excited about it. And then this is a little personal melon, Sweet 2 Pound Beauties Early Jenny. Early and productive, it says. So I'm excited about that. Okay, let's talk about corn. Corn is something that I have the room to grow in small blocks and multiple small blocks around the farm and orchard. Annie has found a different toy, which is fine with me. I hope it doesn't bother y'all. But I really want to try corn. I've never really done corn before at the farm. I'd like to have some cool stuff to bring to the farmer's market, obviously to share with my customers. There are some that are not necessarily sweet corns like what we're used to. There are others that are perhaps better suited for making grits out of. I don't really have any popping corn specifically, but I guess you could probably pop any corn. I guess, I don't know, you tell me. But most of these are sweet corns that you're used to eating. But I do have a couple that are multi-purpose, so they could be stored like as a dent corn that would be like ground for making flour or for serving livestock. And I would like to try and make some of my own flour this year. Not, massive quantities, not to offset what I buy from the mill right now, where I get my flour to produce my baked goods. But I just like to kind of put a toe in the water of seeing what that's like. So, and everybody at the farmer's market that we go to, all they bring is sweet corn, which is fine. Everybody loves sweet corn. Nobody doesn't like sweet corn. But I like to have different things. So this Mountain Morado is a Midwestern breeder's work on getting a traditional South American variety. I think the original is like Maize Morado, and it grows these really tall plants with these super black, super dark, anthocyanin rich kernels. But this one grows well even in short seasons. We don't have a short season. In fact, right now, when it's 80 in February, I don't know. But typically, we go from April 15th to September 15th. But the last few years, that's gone as far as like the first week of November. So it's really kind of crazy. And this year, I'm getting a very early start on stuff, too. So who knows? But we have a long season to work with. So I'm doing this Mountain Morado, a really dark purple corn. And I've also got Orchard Baby, which is a little sweet corn, but it's only 65 days. So yeah, they're smaller. But, again, there's nothing wrong with having like a small meal. So I'm excited about that. Same thing here with this Demon KS Super Sweet Corn. I think this is like a German variety. Is that right? Yeah, a biodynamics breeder in Germany. A very sweet, very early, large kerneled variety. And it's sugar enhanced, which makes it extra sweet. But it's still, non-GMO, open pollinated seeds. So that's pretty cool. I found some neat colored corn. I like stuff that's colorful. I already talked about this. So this is a double red from Fruition Seeds up in upstate. I think they're in upstate New York, somewhere in the maybe more in the New England states. But the young lady who is in all their videos, and I think is maybe one of the founders, I think her name is Petra, maybe Petra. She has really charming videos on YouTube for a company, and I wound up buying a couple different things from them. But this double red sweet corn is one I got from them, as well as this festivity sweet corn. I mean, I want to be the guy. I kind of already am the guy. When people go to the market and they ask about things, I'm the guy who has the weird looking varieties of stuff. And that's a direction that I want to lean into, because that's the direction that's true for me and what I'm into. Hold up just a sec. Hey, what happened? Did you fall? Hi. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I'm getting my corn variety. I'm talking to people about corn. I'm gonna grow a lot of this for you, so you can have some. There are gonna be so many tomatoes. I know you love them. You want some water? Are you thirsty? Yeah. No? You sure? I'm gonna have some. There's ice in it. Now do you want some? Yeah. Good job. No, don't play with the ice cubes. Don't play with the ice cubes, you nut. I love you. Yeah, artichokes. We've had those before. It's okay. Okay, go check out your books. I'm right here. Okay, she's fine. Okay, so other varieties of colorful corn or unusual corn. I've got a Japanese black sticky corn that just kind of sounded eaten. Also, it's kind of this inky black, purple, dark blue, and colorful food I like. And also, again, that higher in those anthocyanins, which my understanding is, I think that's kind of like an antioxidant, or I could be mistaken, but it's generally, I think, richer in nutrition, things that are higher in anthocyanin. So, also just looks cool. Oh yeah, atomic orange. They're smaller ears, but how cool is that? And I think it's pretty short. Yeah, 60 to 80 days. Perfect. You know, I can succession plant that and have corn in 2 months. That's kind of crazy. A classic, which I've never tried before, of course, Bloody Butcher. Pretty excited about that. And this one, honestly, is the one that I'm most excited about. Painted Mountain. I got 2 packets because it's like 50 seeds each, and I'd like to plant a bunch of this. Just look at the variety of color in that. That is insane. And like, I've watched people's videos on YouTube of them like going out and harvesting their corn. This one is pretty diverse. If you catch it early, it may not be as colorful, but you can eat it like a sweet corn. It's great for roasting. You can let it absolutely dry and use it as for grinding to make flour or corn grits or something like that. But I just think that's as cool as I'll get out. Look up some videos on YouTube. Do some reading about it. It's really impressive breeding by, I think the guy is Ed Schultz Montana farmer Dave Christensen. Sampled from over 70 open pollinated varieties since the 1970s to create this mountain corn. I mean, that's just cool. Like, why would I not want something like this to continue? And, you know, this is not marketed as a sweet corn. Like I said, you can sample the ears early and they are sweeter. But, like, there's nothing wrong with trying to change or adapt my palate, and certainly Annie's, to not need the same sugar rush that everybody does. You know, it's like if you give up soda for a couple weeks and kind of get it out of your system, and then you go back and have one, it's, in my experience, it's like sickening how sweet it is sometimes. That being said, when it's really hot in the middle of summer, I can be out there digging in the dirt and be like, man, I really want a Coca-Cola. And, you know, that's life. The only hybrid that I'm growing, and it was hard as heck to find these seeds, is this ruby red sweet corn. And I had to get them. I found them at Walmart online, and Walmart sub-leases, or these folks are a supplier for Walmart, but it's Sherwood Seeds, and they had these. I saw these a couple years ago because people like Ruby Queen and Silver Queen, and or Silver Queen is like the most common sweet corn that I see at our farmers market, and everybody loves and expects that. Well, this was basically a red kerneled variety of this, and I read about this at Burpee on their site probably 3 years ago, when I was like, oh, I should look at some corn, but I didn't want to grow what everybody else was growing, and this was listed as comparable. This is no longer listed anywhere. I cannot find it. It is a hybrid, so it's not going to provide seed that, if I save, will produce plants that are exactly the same next year. But I just wanted to grow it just for the halibut, and, you know, maybe if it turns out well for me this year, I can win over some new customers who, if they come back to me next year, I won't have this corn again, but maybe by then they'll trust me enough to take a risk with some of the other varieties that I've got. which would be pretty good to me. I'm excited about that. Okay, I have a bunch of different crazy kind of greens that I'll go through real quick. Again, from Fruition Seeds, I got this Bare Necessities Kale, and look how frilly it is. I think that's cool, so I want to try it. And then also from Fruition Seeds, because I ordered some tomatoes from them, so I was like, well, let me grab a couple other things, because I don't know about you, but I hate to pay for shipping and then order like two packets, like that's crazy. So try to get the order up higher. So I got these collards, and they're called hen peck collards, and look how ragged they are. That just looks really cool, so I like that. And let's see, tiny bok choy. I love growing these. I'll talk about these in another video, but I think Baker Creek has so many, they send them now as their free seed. Thank you for your order. These things are awesome. They're ready super fast, and you can just kind of pop them in your mouth like slightly bigger Brussels sprouts. I love them. Free packet of Merlot lettuce, a really dark red lettuce. Can't wait to get that going. I'm excited to try some things with lettuces this year for folks, but that won't be in this video. Mizuna, which is a Japanese mustard, two different varieties, like an early one and then the dark streaks purple one and the pink one. It's not as peppery or as fiery as, say, like Japanese red mustard, or even especially not like southern curled mustard, but it's milder. I feel like it's more versatile. And the colors are just ecstatic. I did sell these last year. I raised some, and my customers actually really liked buying the bundles. And I think I sold them for like $3 a bundle. And you can do these like cut and come again. They're very hardy. They lasted quite a long time, and then the flea beetles just decimated them because I forgot to put up my floating row cover. So this is what it is. I never really grow peppers, but I'm trying to get into that this year. This is a Japanese shishito pepper, which is supposed to be pretty darn good. Apparently it's just supposed to be not variety, versatile. Thank you. That's the thing I was thinking of. So you can use this. Obviously, you're not going to stuff this, but you can use a couple different things. Portuguese kale, troncuda kale. Excited about. Just really large leaf. Looks more like a collard, right? Chichimisai. This stuff is awesome. Very nutty. Grows very well. Hot weather, cold weather. Take your pick. It does fine. I grew this last year. Loved it. Yodfa, same thing. Hot weather, cold weather. Love it. It's kind excuse me. It's kind of like if broccoli, florets, and asparagus had a baby. You can eat the green. You can eat every part of this plant, but the tips, the flowering tips, are what's really good, and it's really short, 55 days to maturity. Highly recommended. I did get one good stuffing pepper. King of the North was probably the best out of all the ones that I read, so I was like, okay, I'll go with this. There are a couple others that I have my eye on the Experimental Farm Network site, so I'm kind of thinking about that, but we'll see. Another variety of Mizuna, Benihoshi. Little Gem lettuces. I love these things. It's just like a perfect, it's kind of similar like the tennis ball lettuce, if you've ever seen that. They're just small. They're perfect for like an individual salad with like some bacon and a big old chunk of blue cheese. Not like a wedge salad, but you could turn it into. But sometimes you don't want a giant salad, and you can roast these kind of like romaine on the grill. So they're very good. Versatile Italian pepper, again, not super hot, long, thin-skinned, frying pepper, dries easily, rich flavor, prolific, and adaptable. Awesome. And, some of these peppers, I'm not really growing any hot peppers, but peppers that I don't want, just feed them to the chickens. They're great for the yolks. And if you have hot peppers, they're actually excellent at throwing in with the feed to keep rodents out of their feed as well. But chickens don't have the taste bud receptors for really hot food, so they can just enjoy the peppers as a flavor profile in and of itself without experiencing any of the heat. So feed peppers to your chickens if you can't sell them to customers or eat enough for your family. A giant variety of cabbage. I need to get that in the ground ASAP, or maybe I'll save that for the winter. Tennis ball lettuce, similar to the Little Gem, but rounder. With not quite as open head. It's a a more open head, sorry, than the Merlot. Sorry, I'm watching Annie tug on the blinds. Walking stick kale, love this stuff. I had some going last year and it got decimated by the birds. I need to protect it until it gets larger. More Mizuna, all green variety without the purple streaking, and more free Merlot lettuce. Okay, now let's move on to the biggest part of a thing that I'm working on this year. So I love watching a lot of videos from Jess at Roots and Refuge Farm. She's got a very huge YouTube following and a website and all that, so you probably know who she is. But I was listening to her talk about tomato varieties, and she talked about picking cherry tomatoes, and the plants were so prolific, she would just put them in giant bowls and leave them on her kitchen counter for her kids to eat like candy. And just boom, like a light went off in my head. I would love to bring bags of cherry tomatoes to the farmer's market to sell to kids, like a $5 bag of cherry tomatoes. And I want it to be a rich, colorful, crazy mix. I want it to taste like candy, and I want it to look like candy. And it's funny because that's actually kind of related to my vision. Sorry, Annie is just being a little ham here off camera. To my vision when I put together my chicken flock, like I wanted to sell egg cartons that in my dream scenario, a family would take home every week, and the kids at home would be like, oh my gosh, what did we get? And they would open it up to see the different colors. Like, oh, we got like a chocolate one this week, and oh, there's 2 blue ones, and I want to eat that one. And oh, there's a green one. Like, I wanted it to be like when I was a kid, like, you dump out your cereal box and there's a prize inside, or like a Cracker Jack. Like, I want to create that feeling. And that vision was part of how I put together my idea for how I put together my flock, like physically, like, okay, I need these breeds and yada, yada, yada. So in just the same way, I want to do that with these tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. And I'm already known at the farmer's market as the Muffin Man. Like little kids like, is the Muffin Man here? Excuse me, I do sell an awful lot of muffins, which I've done for probably like a decade now. Hi, you are so perfect. Hi, I love you. Okay. Don't engage too much. So towards that end, I have loaded up on these. And again, a lot of cherry tomatoes are very prolific, so they're going to be producing boatloads. So I'm going to have to come up with different ways to use them, those that I can't sell. But the absolute ultimate thing that I can always do with any surplus crop is feed it to the birds. So I got an indigo blue chocolate. Again, I want kids to be like, a chocolate tomato, a little dark tomato, that's crazy. That is what I want. A blue beauty tomato. Bosque blue bumblebee. These bumblebee tomatoes Jess just kind of raved about, so they're supposed to be quite good and popular. Blush tiger. I want all the colors, so I got this one called Green Doctors. There's some in here that are slightly bigger than cherry, and so they'll be like salad or saladette size. Like this one, the Leona tomato, a German variety, Reisentraub. Looks good. Purple bumblebee, we saw some other bumblebee versions in there. Green tiger, striped tomato. I thought I'd mix it up with a couple different shapes as well. So we'll do some of the pear tomatoes. Chocolate pear, yellow pear. Brad's Atomic Grape. One of my farmer's market mentors used to bring pints of these all the time, and they always flew off the shelves. It's a very, very attractive variety of kind of like grape tomato. Yellow pear. I like this one. This is probably more of a saladette, but chestnut chocolate. How cool is that? This looks incredible. This Napa Chardonnay is supposed to be quite productive. And also, I think I remember reading, it was either a review or maybe it's on here, but somebody said it's like drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon. No, not a Cab Sav. What's a white wine? Well, Chardonnay. Duh. So yeah, so they said it's like drinking a glass of Chardonnay. I'm not a huge white wine fan, but that still sounds pretty good to me. More Brad's Atomic Grape. Okay, so this little one, these are very tiny, but it's a white currant tomato. And I think kids will find that cool when they see those mixed into the bag of candy tomatoes with them. It says barely 1 inch across and creamy. So I wanted to get those. And I have another small one like that I'm excited about. These Berries Crazy Cherry look more like kind of a grape tomato with a little beak on them. Excited about those. Prolific. Again, I might try some of these and be like, I don't like these at all, or they didn't grow well, or kids didn't like them. That's fine. I mean, this is an experimental year. Rosella tomatoes, another little, bred for superior flavor by Gourmet Genetics. How about that? All right. Another bumblebee variety. This one, Tiger Cherry Roma Mix. It says Roma, but I don't know if they get that big, but jewel-toned elongated cherries. So still kind of small. Sweetheart Cherry. These actually have like a heart shape. So I'm excited about those. And okay, so this last two here are very cool. So this is, Baker Creek sells this, they're calling it a spoon tomato. Back when I used to follow Joseph Simcox before he went off the deep end, he had a private seed company, and he sold, like, my wife and I joked, we called it like the truly terrifyingly tiny tomatoes. They were like the size of like your pinky fingernail. And they were delicious, they were prolific, they were awesome. And they kind of went to seed, and they popped up in a yard for a few years, and then we had the house fire, and I never saw them again after that when we came back to the property. But these things are delicious. As you can see there, they fit in a spoon, but I just can't get enough of these. So I was really excited to see that Baker Creek had, if not the same ones that Joseph Simcox used to sell, at least something similar. So I'm really excited about that. And then this one, some people, if you've got whatever it is, trypophobia, or the thing where you don't like poor services, this may gross you out, but this is a German rice tomato. I'm very excited about this. I grew this last year. They're all fused together, and the idea was this was a traveler tomato. You may see it under that name as well, but it's one that you can take with you. You can like tear off a chunk and eat it and keep it in your pocket, and it's still fine. I feel like the opportunity for these is either for chicken feed, or for me personally, because I think they're cool, or I'm going to try and throw them in with the cherry tomato bag for little kids, because I think they may just be like, this is cool. Or of course they could be like, ew, what happened to this tomato? You never know with kids. Kids are crazy. Speaking of, Annie's very quiet. Give me just a sec to look. Playing with her Golden Girls and her jungle playset. Okay. So that's those. I have never made homemade sauce outside of a canned tomato. I've never made any kind of fresh tomato. And I know you can make sauce with any kind of tomato, even like the cherries that we looked at. But I did want to get a few paste varieties. I really want to, one, have these for myself, but two, position myself at the farmer's market with a wide variety. And this year I decided I want to be like, hey, these are your sauce tomatoes. These are your salad tomatoes. These are your cherry tomatoes. These are your sandwich tomatoes. And even in those categories, I'd like to have subcategories of, and when we get to basically the sandwich, the slicers, I'll show you. I want to be like, oh, these are the whites. These are the pinks and reds. These are the oranges and yellows. These are the greens. And then these are the chocolates and the purples. Because at our farmer's market, everybody at a certain time of year, like about early to mid-June, every vendor who carries produce is going to have a low acid variety, like one of the, I think it's like some kind of mountain variety that's like low acid, because lots of people are like, ooh, I can't eat that, it gives me the heartburn. And everybody's going to have German, Johnson, Pink Girl, Mortgage Lifter. Fine, great. Like heirloom tomatoes and some hybrids, those are great. That's awesome. But why on earth would I just make the same thing that everybody else has? That's not interesting to me, and I don't know if it's interesting to my customers. And the folks who aren't my customers may find it interesting to see that I've got some different stuff. So for me, that's how I'm going. So when I look at paste tomatoes, again, I got some great ones from Urban Farmer. Cream sausage, a yellow paste tomato. Cream sausage, how cool is that? You know, I could make an entirely yellow sauce out of those, but I'll probably just add that into some other stuff. And I just think that's neat. Also, with a name like cream sausage, how can you not like how can you not want to carry that? That just sounds crazy and cool. Ox heart varieties tend to do really well. So this one's a yellow ox heart variety that I got from Urban Farmer, sorry. From Fruition Seeds, after watching some more of Petra's videos, I got this one called simply Italian Heirloom Tomato, which you can use as a slicer or as a really great sauce tomato, paste tomato. So I'm excited about that. Paste tomatoes tend to have fewer seeds and more flesh and hold on to less water. So they tend to be meaty without being necessarily juicy. They may be juicy, but that's what makes something a paste tomato, at least as I understand it in what I'm starting to learn here. And then 10 Fingers of Naples, another paste variety from Fruition Seeds. I want to try these just for the flavor. It's supposed to be quite good. Korean long tomato, looks neat. Of course, the classic Amish paste tomato that everybody uses, similar to like the San Marzano classic paste tomato of Italy. And then a Hungarian heart, a red ox heart variety. Pretty excited about that. I think I have some others like Jersey Devil in here somewhere, but who knows? It's a lot of seeds. I have a lot of space, so that's okay. Hold up just a sec. Matilda, no. Matilda, our corgi, has been expressing a lot of jealousy towards Annie lately. I'm not sure what that's about. Matilda is 13 years and Annie is 13 months. So anyhow, I'm just keeping an eye on that. Brandy wines from Urban Farmer. Got the pink brandy wine. They sent me an extra brandy wine by mistake because they forgot to send me the yellow ox heart, but they sent that along separately. A yellow brandy wine, a classic tomato name and variety. I know it mostly for making sandwiches, but of course, you know, I can try making sauce as a salad, a lot of different things. Aunt Ruby's German green tomato, pretty excited about. Look at the stripes on this one, the streaks. Green zebra, very cool. The Berkeley tie-dye green tomato, very cool. The large barred boar, very cool. German pink, I have these left over from last year. I may not even plant these. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. We'll just see. I have a lot of garden space, as I've said, but, you know, it takes space in the nursery to get this stuff going. So we'll see. Abe Lincoln, supposedly a classic multi-purpose tomato from, this is like Arkansas maybe? Renowned 1923 heirloom. Millionaire, is that the one? A revered Ozarks heirloom. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, there's Millionaire. I want to try that one this year. Those are some of the reds. Black Beauty. Of course, as I get into the darker variety ones, higher anthocyanin. Paul Robeson. This one's got an amazing story, which you should check out, about a famous African-American performer who went and visited the Soviet Union, and they named a tomato after him. Tomato variety after him, very cool. Carbon is a dark-fleshed, very early variety. It doesn't have it written on here. Oh, no, it's not that early. Sorry, it's 90 days. I wrote down there from doing research elsewhere if it wasn't on the package. Baker Creek sometimes do not have critical information like days to maturity on their seed packets. Here's an extra free packet I have of purple Russian tomato, Black Prince. Okay, moving into other colored ones, the oranges and the yellows. This one is called Orange Peach. And I've also seen this as yellow peach, which I think I have in here, or just as peach tomato, or as I learned finally from watching one of Jess's videos on Roots and Refuge, Wapsipinicon peach, which I'm sure is the first American's name, or derived from that. I love these. These are crazy. They're, you know, like they fit in the palm of your hand like this. So they're kind of small. They're like tennis ball size. And they have fuzzy skin. They really are like a peach. I love them. The flavor is very sweet. The ones that I grew were very juicy. So I'm excited to grow these again. But this time I found them listed as orange peach tomato. And for me, the thing I always look for is when it says like fuzzy skin. And it says here with a lightly fuzzy skin to match. So they're calling it orange peach here. Gold medal, a classic yellow heirloom variety I'm excited about. Big rainbow. Looks super colorful. I really want that on a sandwich, on some of my homemade sourdough bread right now with some mayonnaise. Here was yellow garden peach from Baker Creek a few years ago. And this one doesn't even have the write-up on it, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as the other one. Kellogg's breakfast tomato. I just can't wait to sell that to people. And we're like, man, this yellow tomato looks good. Like, oh yeah, that's Kellogg's breakfast tomato. Very similar to this would be Dr. Wick's yellow tomato, orange tomato. Got a free pack of Thorburns terracotta. Great colors. Looks really neat. Look at this one. Pork chop tomato. A yellow variety with orange stripes. Pretty excited about that. Here's another packet of orange peach. So, is that my fuzzy skinned one or not? Red Rosso Sicilian. I do have a soft spot for Italian tomatoes because of my Italian heritage. I like to try growing those. This one's super wrinkly. I like the wrinkles. Some people do not. Costoluto Genovese. Hi. Hello, bambina. Costoluto Genovese. Another wrinkly Italian heirloom that I like. Costoluto Fiorentino. Not quite sure what the difference is between the Genovese variety and the Fiorentino variety. Another Hungarian heart. Oh, and a San Marzano Lungo. These are paste tomatoes. I'm going to put them in the pile there. Another thing about paste varieties is that they tend to be determinate, which means that basically the whole harvest comes due in 1 to 2 weeks, whenever that is. And then that's it. The plant is done, as opposed to an indeterminate variety, which is as long as the vine keeps growing, the tomato keeps producing fruit all season long. So paste tomato season is has more of a window on it than the regular one. So when all those paste tomatoes are ready to be harvested, you got to get them and get started on your sauce. This classic Roma. So again, that's a paste tomato. There it is, Jersey Devil. This one is pretty versatile from what I've read. You can use it for a couple different things, but I'm going to try it for paste, and I'm going to make a sandwich out of it. So, there's that. But sorry, that was in the wrong pile. Principe Borghese. This is a smaller salad or saladette variety that's supposed to be the premier variety for making sun-dried tomatoes. So we'll have to see. Excuse me. What that looks like when I do those. Are you thirsty? You want some water? Yeah. You want some water? This is to drink, not to play with. We're almost done here, and then we're going to have lunch, okay? I made you some nice pasta. Yeah. Oh, I love you. Okay. Sorry about that. Pink Vernissage. This is a really beautiful tomato. I'm sorry I've only got it in this kind of off-brand packet here, but it's very, very delicious. I really enjoyed it last year. You want some more water? Yeah. You were very positive. Wow. You had a lot of fluid today. You are such a stinker. Okay, guys, sorry, wrapping it up. Ananas Noir, kind of a dark skin variety. Developed by Pascal Moreau, a Belgian horticulturalist. Super prolific and beautiful. Multicolored inside and out. Superbly flavored with very heavy yields. That is the tomato for me. Absolutely. And then... Hi. Renan Ripple Delight. You'll have to look that one up for pictures. But again, it's a really wrinkly one. Again, some folks don't like those. I do. Pantano Romanesco. I think this is a paste tomato. Large and deep red fruit. Very rich, juicy, and singularly flavorful. I mean, this could be the one. I call it El Uno. This is the one that maybe this is the one that all my customers want. I don't know. Maybe this is the one that becomes my favorite or my wife's favorite or Annie's favorite. And every year we know we have to grow this one. We'll have to see. Okay, so I learned from Jess. This is it. The Wapsipinicon Peach. And I found it at Seed Savers Exchange. And I just really like these. I don't know that I would put it on a sandwich. I just like eating them like fruit, like eating a peach. They are really good. So anyhow, there's that. A really nice orange one with a great name, Nebraska Wedding Tomato. They're 4-inch round fruits, so good size for slicers. Looks good to me and flavorful and adds to my orange tomato varieties. Green Giant, supposedly a classic green variety. Black Beauty, Dr. Wick's Yellow, another brandy wine, True Black brandy wine. I'm really excited to offer mixed bags of the black, the pink, and the yellow brandy wine. I think that would be really nice. And I'm going to try and sell tomatoes this year, excuse me, pre-bagged with mixed bags of either all blacks and reds or all greens or all whites or all yellows, and then like kind of a mixed bag, and already have them weighted out because it's just me. And when muffin sales start flowing, I get pretty busy. And the idea of selecting all the tomatoes out, putting them in the bag, weighing them, and doing change. I don't do any change at my booth. Everything is an even dollar amount. And that's how I want to do the tomatoes. I don't want to have to worry about that. So again, maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. We'll see. It's a learning year. Mushroom basket. I thought that was very cool. I don't know anything really about it. A favorite tomato from Russia. I got a lot of Russian varieties here that sound neat. A red brandy wine. This one, world famous Brimmer. A monster 3 to 4 inch fruit of perfect round shape. This is an heirloom that needs to be brought back into mainstream creative regional cuisine. Plan on profitable harvests and juicy BLTs all fall. Well, okay then, Baker Creek. Some of the white ones, this one is White Beauty or Snowball. The white ones, we'll see how they go. I have a feeling they are so nichey that they may not make it at the market, but just be part of our family's diet. I think I already did Carbon, Black Crim, Sartre Rolloise, Rolloy, I think it's maybe a Belgian variety. Tropical sweet with high antioxidant content. Sold! That's what I wanted. And then these two here, these last two here, Phil's 1 and Phil's 2 from a plant breeder named Phil, something or other. But what I love is these are like those German rice tomatoes that I showed you earlier, or the Travelers, where you kind of pull them apart. I don't know that people are going to like them. We'll see. Maybe I'll have a small audience of folks who want to try these out, but I think they're neat. And again, they can always be fed to the chickens. And then the very last thing I have here is one called Bread and Salt, an indeterminate variety of 80 days, meaty ox heart shape, large, round with dense, meaty flesh. So this one's probably almost going to be a paste tomato. So that's some of what I got going on this year, what I'm hoping to get in the ground. The last few days, my dad came and visited us for 3 days. He hadn't seen Annie since before Christmas, so we had a great time. And my father's 86 years old, so he went with me to the farm. He didn't want to stay here all day, so he went with me to the farm and supervised. And he helped me build 2 more horseradish boxes. We also planted 150 pounds of potatoes. Got them mulched over, and I'll have a video coming up about them later. So this is a very long video. If you're into this sort of thing, this is probably okay. If you're not into this sort of thing, I hope that no one forced you to watch this. I'll edit this now, and I will talk to you folks later. Wherever you are, whatever you're up to, I hope that you and those you care for are happy, healthy, and well, and continue to be so. And Annie and I are going to make lunch now. And you can always follow more about the farm at Broad Shoulders Farm on Facebook and Instagram. Hey, little person, come here. Come here. Come here. Oh. Here, let's see this. You want to wave? Say bye. Say bye. You high five? Boop. Yeah. Good job. I love you. Okay. Bye, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay. You ready for lunch? Are you hungry? You ready for lunch? Yeah? Okay.